Hi, I'm Chris Dartnell. I'm the Power Systems Leader globally for Schneider Electric. Of course, Schneider brings great technology and many others bring technology to the party. But what's going to be the fundamental is learning how we collaborate. So, example, if households have battery storage, how that battery is shared onto the grid, how those tariffs work, how that allows you to manage the balance of supply and demand across the network means you need much more collaboration between the customer, the retailer, the distribution grid, the grid operator, and many more besides. So those four have to be much more in balance than they were historically when it was a unidirectional system. We're involved in all phases of the process. So in generation, helping the generators around, we have a huge portfolio of electrification. So the piece of the business that I work in is in electrifying grids and heavy electrical processes. We work with grid operators around the world. One area, for example, that we work is taking SF6 gas out of the electrical networks. Maybe it's not a common topic, but this SF6 gas is particularly impactful on the greenhouse gas outlook. And so we've brought interesting technology called AirSet that helps us to replace with pure air. So there's a piece of that. Electrification right through buildings and commercial, residential, electrifying data centers, which is rapidly growing in the world of AI. We have a technology called Wiser, which is helping homes to optimize their electricity usage. And it's kind of cool. If you can manage your electrical usage in a home to optimize the efficiency, that's going to be a big piece of how we manage the future. And then a lot of software and digitization, which comes from we need to measure, so sensors everywhere, and then gather and then interpret and analyze using AI. It's a clean fuel, it's a flexible fuel, and it's the fuel of the future. We believe in Schneider that 70% of the technology to get us to the sustainable future is available now. And it's available with electricity. So there are other sustainable fuels, hydrogen, of course, and nuclear, and they all have their part to play. And we're not here to fight for one or the other, but lots of the electrical technology is ready to go. Like you see the change from internal combustion engines to EV cars, it's about mass adoption, and we think we can be part of helping that process. In the traditional grids of large centralized coal-fired power, the generation did the flexibility. So when you switched on your light at home, you just expected that generation would pick up. As we get more into renewables, they're more agile, and so we have to have a better, more timely balance of demand and supply. And the generation will come from multiple places. So when it's just large power stations in the old days, but today generation might come from household battery, from rooftop solar, from your EV car battery feeding back into the grids. Imagine then that world, digitization and eventually artificial intelligence is going to be the glue, the collaboration network that allows us to optimize. And one of the things that we calculated that if we optimize well, there's 6 billion Australian dollars of savings in not needing to build capacity because you optimize the usage. On the grid, which almost universally around the world are government entities, as they are in Australia, then they have to be investing in the grids. Interesting phrase that I think resonates. There's no transformation without transmission, right? Unless we can create the transmission grids that are more capable and more agile, we can't expect to get the transformation to the sustainable future. The key part is AI will help us to optimize the sources and uses of electricity and to connect them all up and to find the pockets of generation that we can use and to find the sources that we feed and the uses. That's going to be vital. And we were seeing just using of AI inside a home to understand the pattern of your usage and when you need certain things to be ready, when you need hot water, when you need rooms to be a certain temperature, and that managing efficiency. The other thing with AI then is, let's say so to speak, the generation of AI. We need to help to create more data center capacity, which is where the generative AI will be working. And that takes a lot of energy as well. So in a very connected infrastructure, finding the sites and the renewable and sustainable energy to feed data centers and then deploying the AI in the right places. Schneider's quite proud of how we've been involved on the sustainability subject for many years, and we're also widely recognized. We were selected as the world's most sustainable company by Time magazine, for example. But we have to also walk our own talk. We have to show, we're moving to get all of our global factories to be net zero by the end of this year, for example, because it's one thing to take the plaudits, but we have to show that we're leading in our own thinking, for example.